Everybody, we are going to start off with a little game. I want you guys to see if you can guess the animal that is on the screen as I uncover it slowly.
Okay.
You guys ready?
You bet.
Alright. Does anybody know what that is? Just one swings.
Vulture?
No.
Damn it.
Close.
Okay.
It flies.
Oh, it looks like the neck's getting long. A crane.
Close. You're getting closer. Here, maybe this will help.
He's trying to give the accepting answer. Oh,
Is it a goose?
yes.
Bingo. There we go. Yes,
Oh,
this
that
is
was
a
kind.
Canadian goose.
He's gonna be a politician. Anyway, continue on.
Alright, so my name's Cameron Sullivan. I'm an avid waterfowl hunter and I do enjoy watching these birds as well. So the Canadian goose's teamwork, dedication, and survival mentality allow them to live and reach their goals in our ever-changing environment. So we're going to talk about their wonderful migration paths from the snow to the sun and kind of how it looks. So it could be a little all over the place, could be very point to point. We're also going to talk about what they have to go through and battle during these migration periods, like hunting. And then we're also going to talk about how they get their energy through food, just like this little guy. Alrighty, so does anybody know some species that migrate south for winter?
Ducks?
There you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah. White-throated sparrows.
Well, yeah, that works. Well, did anybody ever think about grandma and grandpa?
Yeah.
They move south too, just like the Canadian geese. So, the Canadian geese, they develop teamwork skills to start and end their migration routes. So the typical migration routes are gonna be your central fly zone, your Mississippi fly zone, your west coast fly zone, and your east coast fly zone. I like to say that the Mississippi and the central flyways, they're kind of the same. If you go out and hunt the Mississippi or you go out to bird watch, you don't really see something any different from the Mississippi all the way out to about the Colorado area. It's all the same stuff. They all merge together. Actually, this past season, I saw quite a few snow geese. We don't typically see these out in Wisconsin. You see these more in that central flyway. So for them to be out by Wisconsin, I almost want to say that the Mississippi and the central flyway, they're now merged into one, but you know, that's an opinion. So their migration dates, they can start from anywhere to late summer periods all the way to winter. That could be the start, and they will go all the way until May, June, is when they'll be coming back south or north. So for geese though, sometimes you can see them year round, sometimes they just don't ever want to leave, especially with mild winters like we have been having. They have access to food year round, and there's no reason for them to leave with the plumage they have, keeping them all nice and warm during the winters. When they do fly, they fly in these V formations. So, does anybody know why one side of the V is longer than the other?
Oh.
It's because there's more geese on that side. That's all. There's no specific thing. Sometimes people say that it's got a lot to do with aerodynamics and their ability to conserve their energy flying in these formations, which is true. But for one side to be longer than the other, there's no scientific fact. Just the geese like that side more. Alright, so as I mentioned earlier, I want to see if you guys are paying attention. What do geese have to go through during their migration?
Predation?
Close. Pretty much, actually. They gotta go through these big mean guys, the hunters, or me. So these guys, they hunt the geese. They love the way the geese taste, and honestly, I agree with them. They're pretty good. So when the geese, they show off their survival skills with the knowledge of the land around them. So waterfowl hunters will typically set up in cornfields looking for these, kind of food plots almost for these geese. These are areas that they will have to go through. And if you're a good hunter, actually, let me retract that statement. Geese will find areas that like wildlife refuges. They have a lot of water, a lot of food. It's a very ideal spot where they can feel protected during these migration paths and these routes. It keeps them very, very safe. So a little activity that I want you guys to do is, if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna pass out these pieces of paper. I want you guys to draw your ideal wildlife refuge. And a wildlife refuge can be anything from a really nice forested area protecting deer to a real nice kind of wetland, marshy area protecting ducks, geese. Or it can be a river itself protecting the walleye while they're running up the river. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do that real quick. What do we got going over here?
I got a pond. I feel like that's where I want to start because that's where you get a lot of wildlife.
Very nice.
And I like just watching ducks and geese.
Yep.
I don't particularly hunt, but if I'm gonna go to a wildlife refuge, it's nice to have a big pond and maybe some kind of boardwalk or trail with
Sure.
spots you can kind of stop and look along the way.
Gotcha. There you go. There you go. What do we got over on the other side?
I'm drawing a river that will eventually have like a bench here, not very artistic, but there's my bench with native plants around it where all the animals and insects and whatever can enjoy themselves.
What kind of animals would you want to see in the refuge?
Oh, I would like to see, that's actually a good question. Probably birds.
A lot of birds.
Mhm.
Any bird specific?
Not really.
Not really. Just a whole bunch of everything.
Yes.
There we go. What do we got over here?
Well, of course, it's a natural area that has a visitor center and hiking trails, and also a good mix of diverse habitat for different type of birds. So some mud flats for your shorebirds, and I could go on, but there we go.
Very nice. It looks like, it reminds me of the Meal Wildlife area.
It
Have you
sure
ever been
does.
out there?
It does, yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Give you guys a couple more seconds to finish up your drawings. So we got a couple birds over here. We've got almost, I'd say, an exact replica of the Mead Wildlife area right here. And Kevin, did you get your birds in there?
Oh, I'm such a bad artist. There you go. We got
There
one.
we go.
We got one.
What kind of bird is it?
A duck.
A duck? There we go.
If I could draw a crane, I'd probably draw a crane.
Yeah. They're tall. They got long necks. I mean,
Long legs.
yep. You just got a red couple lines. There we go. Alrighty. So for hunters, when they go through these, or when the geese have to fly through the hunting seasons, they'll find these wildlife refuges. They can hold anything. And like I said before, these wildlife refuges don't just have to be these kind of marshy, wetland areas. They can be rivers, mouth of rivers like over in Peshtigo. They have a wildlife refuge up by a dam. It's technically called a fish refuge, but it does serve the same purpose for any wildlife. And that is there when the walleye run upstream, or it could be a forested area like part of your national park where hunting is allowed to go on and take place, unless it's in this designated area protecting possibly whitetail species, fox, coyote, wolf, bear, you name it, probably protects it. For hunters though, hunters get real close to these birds, and you don't want to end up like this guy getting chased by the goose. All right, make sure you don't do that. All right, so does anybody know when these birds fly south, how they get their energy?
Eating a lot of food.
Bingo. There we
Yes.
go. A lot of food. A lot of food like corn, alfalfa, duckweed, whatever. Anything they can find that they like to consume, they'll eat it. That'll give them their energy to fly south. So the Canadian goose is dedicated to finding the area with the most food for its long trip south and back north, and so they gotta take in a lot of food to be able to have the energy to do that. And so we're gonna play a little game, and I'm gonna see which one do you guys think the goose will prefer. All right? So we've got this beautiful, luscious forested area with probably a ton of food in it, a ton of wildlife in it. Or, oh, come on. Or we have this cornfield that's getting harvested. What do you guys think?
Cornfield.
Cornfield? Yep, that's very good choice. Very, very good choice. Yeah, so duck hunters and waterfowl hunters will typically set up in these harvested cornfields as long as they have permission to be on that property. The geese, they come in and they just eat on that corn that is left over all year round. They get all nice and fat, and they get all that energy to fly south. So we'll do this again with a couple different pictures. So this swampy area with mean crocodiles and a little bit of open water, or this beautiful wide open lake with an absolutely beautiful tree background. What are you thinking?
Lake?
So it's actually both. Both of them.
Trick question.
Both of them can supply more than enough food for the Canadian geese as they fly south. Depending on their flock sizes, they may prefer a bigger area like this lake, or they could prefer that smaller, tighter area if they have less geese, like that swamp, might make them feel a little more protected. So now that we've talked about the three things, we are going to start wrapping things up. So the Canadian goose and their teamwork and dedication and survival mentality allow them to live and reach their goals in our ever-changing environment through migration patterns like going from the cold to the sun all the way across, and then coming back eventually when it's nice and warm up here. Their survival skills during the hunting season, and of course getting their food. So I encourage you guys to go out, even if you don't duck hunt or waterfowl hunt. I encourage you guys to go out, get close to these birds, watch what they do, because they're truly one amazing creature. And you know, you might see a couple other cool birds like ducks out there. So you know, it's definitely worth getting out there, but make sure you don't get too close, because hey, you might be this hunter again getting chased. So all right, thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time.
All right, cool. All right, we'll take a few minutes and so how we're gonna run this guy is, if you want extra credit for being here, please do. I like giving points in this class. You have to fill out a form too. Sorry, leaders, that's a little bit different. But here's the deal, only for, you don't necessarily have to do so, but you'd have to do so for their walks and vice versa. So for that kind of thing. It'd be nice if you can, but so for you, for these two. I know it's, just write some things down. Okay, we're all wrapping up here. And I'm really trying to figure out this picture.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what little flowers
Rice
are.
paddies? Are they wading? Or is this synchronized swimming?
Are they harvesting some kind of flower? Is there something that would grow in water?
Is this a grass skirt? See, yeah, you know, that is very, very.
It invites questions. Oh my gosh, this is so